All right, Math 2, Unit 6, Section 1. We are on page 337. Okay, we are talking about ratios and proportions. You guys, I think, have heard about these before. Does this sound familiar? I'm pretty sure you guys learned about these like in 6th grade, in 7th grade. Okay, now there is a difference, but not really. So proportions, we normally look at them as fractions, like 1/2 would be a proportion. And if you want to write that as a ratio, that would be 1 to 2, like that, with the colon in between. When you are writing, and that's supposed to be a colon, when you are writing ratios and proportions, if you write your answer as a fraction, that's fine. If you write it as a ratio with the colon in between, that's fine. They both mean the same thing. Multiple choice, they might have one or the other. Okay, so you just need to know the difference, but however you write your answer is fine. Okay, so on page 337, if you read the got it first problem, it says a bonsai tree is 18 inches wide and stands 2 feet tall. What is the ratio of the width of the bonsai to its height? Now they're telling you to do width to height. So if you're writing this, the width would be on the top and the height would be on the bottom. If I know how to spell height. Okay. Or with the fraction, the width would go first and the height would go second. Okay? What is there? There's an issue here though, and if you read this question to the side, it says, how can you write the width and height using the same units? So whenever you're doing ratios, they need to be in the same terms. And if you read here, one of them says 18 inches and one of them says 2 feet. So what would we need to do? Convert them. Do we know how to convert them? Have we learned this in biology? Or okay, so how many inches are in a foot? 12. So if we have 2 feet, that is going to change to 2 times 12, which is 24 inches. Okay, now pay attention because they don't always say the correct number in the correct order. In this case, they did say width first, then height. So this would be 18 over 24. If you can reduce, you want to reduce. So can 18 and 24 reduce? By what? You can do 6 or 3 or 2. You just keep reducing until you can't reduce anymore. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and just reduce by 6. So I'm dividing by 6 to the top and the bottom. And I get 3 over 4. Or I can write that as 3 to 4. Yes. Okay. Questions? 24, remember we converted the 2 feet. 2 feet and 12 inches, so 2 times 12 made 24. Okay, moving on to page 338. Practice problem number 1. Okay, so it says the length of a tennis racket is 2 feet 4 inches, and the length of a table tennis paddle is 10 inches. They asked us to write the ratio of the first measurement to the second measurement. So what do I need to change about the first measurement? Good. So we know that how many inches are in a foot? 12. So I have 2 times 12 plus 4, right? Because it's 2 feet and 4 inches. So we end up with 24 plus 4, which is 28 inches. Okay, so how will I end up writing this proportion or ratio? Good. 28 over 10. And can that reduce? By what? 2. And so I get 14 over 5, or we can write that as 14 to 5. Okay? Are we confused? Yeah, no, tell me. So we changed the 2 feet into inches because everything has to be in the same. So 2 feet times 12 inches made 24, but there was still 4 inches, so that made 28 inches. So the length of the tennis racket to the tennis paddle, and so that was 28 is what our tennis racket was, over 10 for our tennis paddle. And then you can reduce the top and the bottom by 2. We're good? Okay. You're welcome. All right. Problem number 2. Okay, this is where we're adding on a little bit. Okay, and this is on page 338. It says, the measures of 2 supplementary angles are in the ratio of 1 to 4. What are the measures of the angles? First of all, how many degrees are with 2 supplementary angles? 180. Okay, supplementary is 180. Okay, so I'm going to put 180 degrees. Now, we're trying to figure out what the actual degrees are. How this works is this is basically like it has 1 portion and 4 portions. So if you have 1 portion, I'm going to write that as 1x. And 4 portions would be 4x. That is a total of what? 5x. So you're adding each of those portions together. And so they are saying that all of those portions together equal how much? 180. So I'm going to write this as 5x equals 180. And then we'll solve. So we divide by 5, and I get 36. So that means that for every 1 portion, it's 36. So one of the degrees is 36 because it's just 1 portion. And the other one is 4 portions of it. So we would go 36 times 4. And 36 times 4 equals 144. And so the other portion is 144. And how could you check to make sure you did that correctly? Add them, and they should equal 180. And do they? Yeah, so we're good. Okay, questions or confusion on that problem?
And why did you multiply by 4?
Because remember the ratio up here is 1 to 4. And so one of the ratios was 1, so I just needed 136. The other one needed 4 36s, so the quickest is to go 36 times 4. You could also add 36 4 times. Okay. All right, any other questions on this one? Okay. Moving on then to page 339. Okay, the question on baseball. Okay, a baseball team played 154 regular season games. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight the 154. The ratio of numbers of games they won to the number of games they lost was 5/2. How many games did they win and how many games did they lose? Okay, so this is very similar to the last problem. How many portions do we have? 7, right? Good. Because we have the 5x. There's lots of side conversations that need to stop, please. 5x and 2x, and what is it going to equal this time? 7x, and that's going to equal what? 154. And so we divide by 7 to each sides, and we find that x equals 22 is correct. So that means that for each portion, it's worth 22, right? So if you have 5 to 2, 5 portions, what would I do? I would go 5 times 22. So when I write this, I'm going to go 5 times 22, and then the other one is 2 times 22. Good. And so that is 110 to 44. So 110 is how many they what? 1. And then 44 was how many they lost. Oops. Okay, questions there? Are we sure? Yeah? Okay, so now it's your turn to try this. And we're still on page 339. So check it out on your own. Notice that they're only asking you for the measure of the larger angle. So you could find both, but they just want the larger one. When you get your answer, raise your hand. I'm going to come around and check it. So how many portions do we have on this one? 12. And we already learned that supplementary angles are worth how much? 180. So we're going to have to take 180 divided by 12. Perfect. All right, Christian, what'd you get? Okay, 105 is the correct answer. So in order to start this up, our 5 portions plus our 7 portions, so 5x plus 7x equals 12x, and we set that equal to 180 because we know that supplementary angles equal 180 degrees. We divide by 12 to both sides, and so we find that x equals 15, right, to start with. And so that is telling us like how much each portion is worth. So if you're wanting the larger portion, we only want to look at the 7. So that means I'd end up going 7 times 15, which is 105. So the measure of the larger angle is 105. Do we have questions? No? Okay. Still on page 339. The same thing works is that you could have 3 ratios being compared to each other. And so it's just the same idea. It's just that there's 3 portions, right? Instead of only having 2. Now, if you have 3 portions, you would normally just write this as a ratio. This compared to this compared to this. Okay. So if you've got the got it problem there, what would I do in order to figure this out? Good. You would add 4x plus 7x plus 9x, which equals 20x. And then it said that the perimeter is what? 60. And so in order to split that up, we do exactly what I heard Josh say and set it equal to 60. And then we do what? Divide by 20 to both sides. And x equals 3. And so it says, what are the lengths of the sides? So how am I going to figure out the length of each side? What do I do?
Plug it in.
Plug it in. So we have 4 times 3 to 7 times 3 to 9 times 3. And then we would simplify all those. So 4 times 3 makes 12. And then 7 times 3 is, and then 9 times 3 is 27. That's our answer. And specifically, because I think it said what are the lengths, we would end up writing that as 12 centimeters, 21 centimeters, and 27 centimeters. And how could I double check that I have the right answer? Add them up, and they should equal how much? 60. All right, number 5. On page 340. Okay, so what am I going to do first? How many portions will I have? 3 portions, right? 6 plus 7 plus 9, though, we add those together and it equals 22. And then they said that the whole perimeter equaled 88. Are you guys just working ahead? Divide by 22 and you get x equals what? 4. And so it said what are each of the lengths? So that means we're going to go 6 times 4. And then we have 7 times 4. And then we have 9 times 4. So 6 times 4 makes what? Good. 24 centimeters. 7 times 4 is 28 centimeters. And then 9 times 4 is 36 centimeters. Okay, questions? Do you guys think you got this? Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. Still on page 340, but looking at the bottom of 340 where it's talking about the essential understanding. So when you have proportions, if you have an equal side in the middle, you can cross multiply in order to solve. Okay? Do you guys remember this? When we are looking at triangles, which we'll talk about tomorrow, if something's in one spot on one triangle, you have to keep it in the same spot of the fraction. Like everything has to kind of match up with proportions. Okay? So we're just going to go ahead and skip down to problem 4, solving a proportion. What would I do on A there? This is a 9. Sorry. So you're going to cross multiply. So we're going to go 2 times A, which is 2A. And then we're going to go 9 times 14, which is, good, 126. We divide by 2 to both sides. And A equals 63. Good. Okay. B. Same thing. We're going to go 15 times M, which is 15M. Now on the other one, because I have a plus, you need to make sure that you multiply 3 times M plus 1. So you might want to write that out as 3 times M plus 1, and then make sure that you distribute. Okay, so we have 15M equals 3M plus 3. And what would I do next to solve? Good, subtract 3M to both sides. We end up getting 12M equals 3, and then we divide each side by 12, and I get, what does that reduce to? 1/4. Okay? 7 and 8. 7, we cross multiply. We get what? 25y equals 150. When we divide by 25, think about quarters. How many quarters would be in $1.50?
6.
Y equals 6. Okay, number A, do it on your own. When you get your answer, show me on your fingers. Good, good. Good, good, good. Good, good. Perfect. Good, 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 good. Albert, you got this? Perfect. Okay, so most of you got it. The correct answer was 4. So when you multiply here, 8 times n is 8n. And then I'm going to write this out 4 times n plus 4 so I don't forget to distribute. And so I get 8n equals 4n plus 16. Subtract 4n to both sides. 4n equals 16. And I divide by 4 to both sides to get n equals 4. Do we have any questions on that one? We're good? Okay, turn over to page 342. So basically the thing I just want you to notice here, do you see how A and B are over each other here? You can flip them around to write them as B over A, but if you flip those around, you have to flip the other proportion around. Okay? Also, do you see on here how you have A and B up and down, but then it changes to both A and B are on the tops? That is also fine, but you notice how A was on the top originally, then the C needs to be matched with the A. So it's like you just have to make sure they end up staying in the same spots when you move them from each proportion. Okay, so let's try this on problem 5. So if you can't see this here, this really is saying that you have x over 6 equals y over 7. And they're just going to move things around here, and you have to decide what goes in the missing spot. So this is what you're looking at for your original piece, like your A over B, your C over D. Okay? And so now they change this to be 6 over x for A. So if they change this to be 6 over x, then how do I change the other side? 7 over y. So 7 over y is the correct answer. Okay, on the other side, so we're trying to figure out one of them, and they put y plus 7 over 7. So if you look here, see how you have y and 7 together? So they went like this, y plus 7 over 7. So what would I write on this side? X plus 6 over 6. And so that's my answer. So you're just copying and keeping things the same. Okay? On page 343, let's go to numbers 9 and 10. Okay, so if you look over here, they told us the fraction was a over b equals 3 over 4. So if you look over here, see how they have a over the b, 3 over the 4. So on 9, it says, just going to put number 9 down here, 4a equals what? 3b. Okay, try number 10. What? For number 10? So at number 10, they have a plus b over b. So if you look here, they went a plus b over b. So it's going to be 3 plus 4 over...
A, B, 3, 4.
So we're just looking at these, right? Because they took these two and they wrote a plus b over b. 3 plus 4 over 4. Or we can write that as... Actually, yeah. Okay. Are we good there? Okay. Number 11. Starting on page 343. What do you get? Give it a try. Okay, are these both in the same terms? Okay, so it says to write them width versus length. Which one is width? What number? 46 to 84, and then you would reduce it by 2, and so 23 to 42, or 23 over 42. Either answer works. Okay, number 12. All they want you to do this one is kind of like talk about how you'd write the portions. And so this is really just going to be 5x to 9x. So depending on what they told you each x was, you would multiply it. Are we okay with that for 12? Does that make sense? Okay, 13. What is going on there? What can we do to solve? Good. Cross multiply. If you can't see on mine, this is a z. It's 30 over z equals 5 over 3. So if we cross multiply, we get 5z equals 60. Divide by 5 to both sides, and z equals what? Good. Okay, last one. You're looking here. Or maybe it's not the last one. Yeah, this is the last one we're going to do. That's what we're originally starting with. It's a over 7 equals 13 over b. I'm going to write it over here. A over 7 equals 13 over b. So, if they have a and 7 both on the top, so how are we going to write that on the bottom? Good. It's going to be a over 13 equals 7 over b. Okay? Now on this one, they have a minus 7 over 7. So what's going to be on the other side? 13 minus b over b. Good. And then c. If you have 7 over a, we're going to end up writing No. B over 13. So you're always looking at the original one they gave you in order to make the new one. Okay, any questions? All right, we are going to stop there.